progressive left is insane. There's no other way to put it, but nowhere is it more clear than when it comes to President Trump. Since the day of the election, these precious little snowflakes have been whining and crying about reality, unable to deal with the facts because they just don't make them happy. Well, Washington Post columnist Dana Milbank now says that the very existence of Trump is killing him literally. No, he's not quite right. Trump is killing him liberally. Dana Milbank, a writer for the Washington Post, believes President Donald Trump is literally killing him. What, did Trump break into his apartment and try to strangle him or something? No? Well, of course not. This is just an overly emotional claim made to virtue signal to all the regressive idiots so they can blame Trump for one more thing that he never did. Because feelings. These people are idiots. Milbank says he discovered Trump's presidency is affecting his health after visiting the doctor for his first physical in 49 years. In an opinion piece published Friday, Milbank said he had to report that he had not been feeling well recently. And he hasn't been to the doctor in 49 years. Seriously. Now this is important, so keep it in mind as we continue. The Washington Post writer said he'd been suffering from fatigue, headaches, trouble sleeping, and chest pain. Milbank said his blood pressure was alarmingly high after his doctor tested it, making a point that his blood pressure has always been normal. Well, how the hell does he know that if he hasn't been to a doctor in 49 years? Plus, this is a clear case of confusing correlation with causation. Because I'm sure nothing else in his life, not even his age, can be causing any of those symptoms, right? It has to be Trump. Everything is Trump. Milbank said he was suffering from Trump hypertensive unexplained disorder, a disorder he created and diagnosed himself with. For almost 5 decades, I had been the picture of health, but 8 months into Trump's presidency, I was suddenly ailing, he wrote. Trump is the only variable, I told my doctor. He sure is variable, my doctor responded, endorsing the diagnosis. Yeah, I'm sure your doctor endorsed your insane diagnosis. He probably just agrees that you're too crazy to argue with. The very diagnosis proves it. Trump, hypertensive, unexplained disorder. Well, if you're blaming Trump, it's not unexplained, is it? Geez, you regressive idiots are out of your minds. Throughout Milbank's piece, he explained how he knows his disorder caused by Trump is a real thing, claiming he performed a longitudinal study to test his hypothesis. Milbank said he purchased a blood pressure monitor and would wrap it around his bicep throughout various parts of the daily news cycle. And that only proves my point. He said he hadn't been to the doctor in 49 years, but somehow he knew that his blood pressure had always been normal. But now he confirms he's never bothered to test it. He just knew that it was somehow normal. Just like he knows that Trump is responsible somehow. Wow, the Washington Post needs to rethink the people they hire because they've got some completely crazy people on their staff. Milbank said he has spoken to psychotherapists who have told him that they are unusually busy with clients who continue to speak about Trump. He claims that Trump is exacerbating whatever neurosis, depression, or other conditions they had. Then maybe these people need help for their neurosis, depression, or other conditions because clearly they have something wrong with them if they're being driven to illness because someone they don't like is in the White House. And it's funny how many people on the far political left seem to have self-identified mental problems, isn't it? They always have some kind of explanation for the weird things they do and the bizarre things they believe. It's always something wrong with their brains. I guess that explains liberalism, doesn't it? The Washington Post writer said he addressed his self-diagnosed illness of Trump hypertensive unexplained disorder with blood pressure medication prescribed by his doctor. My prescription is renewable until January 2021, at which point I expect it will no longer be medically necessary, he concluded. You know, it probably wouldn't be necessary if you weren't such an overly emotional special snowflake who could deal with reality without hiding in a safe space. But this is exactly the problem with the regressive left. They're fundamentally insane and emotionally unstable. I'm sure there's nothing wrong with this idiot except his age and his ideology. I wouldn't be surprised if his doctor just gave him a placebo to shut him up and get him the hell out of the office. It would be nice if his employer took one look at his claims and put him on indefinite medical leave, because clearly the job that he's choosing of his own free will is affecting his health, at least so he claims. How long can it be before he puts in a legal claim against his employer that the job he's doing is dangerous to his health? I don't know, Washington Post. I don't think you should risk it. Get rid of this lefty lunatic for his own good. It's a humanitarian thing to do.
Everything changes.